Hi guys, a bit of an impromptu live stream tonight. We've got a bit of a special surprise for you guys. We're going to do a chat. We've had a couple of emails asking about can we do a making of on our Five Nights at Freddy's 4. So we thought we'd give you guys a bit of a sneak peek in how it all comes together. We're just waiting for a few more people to just drop into the stream, and then we'll go to the premiere and the other stuff going on. So, Chrissy, we've got quite a few of you coming in now. Mr. Rex 4401, hello. Hi, and new one, Titanium Ultron 5. Shelby Hell, Jurassic Games, Mr. Clear 600, Marcus Preveniers, Stampy Longspider, Geeky Gamer. There's loads of you coming in. Pika Freddy, I'll tell you what we'll do. I think we've got a bit of a crowd. Shall we start with the making of then? You ready for that? Let's just bring that back. Okay, hi guys.
Hello.
I'd say what, Pete, I probably don't need to see this one because I'm going to be answering some of you, asking some of you guys questions. So, basically, it's whatever you want to ask us, but about what we're talking about on the edit here. So I'll hand you over to Peter, and let's see what we got.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we thought we'd take if you haven't seen Five Nights at Freddy, the last part, then you might want to do that now because we're going to be showing bits.
Yeah, you get spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, you need to watch that. But we've had a lot of questions over the whole series of Five Nights at Freddy's of people asking how we went about making some of the effects, and I think people are just generally interested in how things are put together. So this has really been called together literally in the last hour, so excuse any kind of problems we have with showing you this stuff, but we thought we'd sort of break down some of the different scenes of that last part and show you how, for example, in the office, the doors, Foxy, bits and pieces were made.
Well, I'll tell you what, it would be nice to start off with how did you go about making Foxy?
Okay.
I think if we start with that, I think that's quite a good idea.
Yeah, I was just thinking, is it worth turning on the light? Just because I know it's going to get dark.
It is getting dark, so we'll turn on the light. Okay, if I have forgotten who I said, there was Bonnie 3692. How do you do? I like this one. What's that? YouTube tell with Undyne and Paprius. Hello to you. Rusty Show. Actually, I remember Rusty Show from past, so you're right. It has been a long time since you've been last commenting, so it's nice to have you back.
What happened to the night guard, says Candy Monster? Have you seen it, Candy Monster?
Have you seen it? Yeah.
He's here. Look, there he is.
Yes,
he's all right. He survived.
Well, okay, so one of the first questions is look, from Pika Freddy, how do you make awesome animation so realistic? We'll leave the acting for now. But yeah, let's start with how you start making Foxy.
Well, it started a long time ago in 1996 when I first started to learn computer graphics. Basically, it does take a long time. I think a lot of people think it's the software that does it, and you do see a lot of comments of what software to use because I think it's kind of like a magic button that will automatically make everything look great. But it takes a long time to learn 3D and film and all of the sort of things that go with it. What I would say is if you wanted to get into animation, check out a site called Animation Mentor because that's who it's a 1.5-year course and that's what I went on to learn animation. So they're really cool as a school for animation and just learn as much as you can about 3D graphics if that's an area you want to get into. But there is no secret magic bullet to creating these things. It just takes a lot of your time and your life. Oh, your brother's there, look.
Yeah.
I watch him. So all I can say is you have to have a real passion for it and you have to dedicate your whole life to it.
I think they're asking actually now how you actually go around making the animatronics. So should we start with Freddy?
Okay.
Start
So one of the misconceptions with the animatronics is a lot of people think they're actually someone in a suit, which is actually what we wanted to do, but we didn't have enough time to do that. So the easier option or the quicker option at the time when we were filming was to then say let's do it in post and make them CG. So all the characters are CG. So on that note, I am going to go and show you. I did a quick version. Well, actually, I'll show you in ZBrush first of all. Let's flick over so you won't see us now. Here is Foxy's head. Now, he's pretty much complete in this particular part here. But if you guys have ever, a lot of you I know have seen our making of Bubblegummonster stuff that we do every Friday, and if you haven't seen that, we do it every Friday at either 5:30 p.m. GMT or 6:30 p.m. GMT. So please check that out. The next one again, obviously, is Friday.
But 6:30 this week.
6:30.
6:30 this.
So this is Foxy's head. He's made up of lots of different parts, so we can actually hide different bits if we want to, like his nose. But I actually, when I made him, I thought actually you guys might want to see how he was sculpted. So very similar to making a bubblegum monster, I did a time lapse of making Foxy. So if I now go over to Premiere, which is where we do all our editing,
see what we're in the window now. Hello.
We will then show you this time lapse here. So we'll chat over it as I do it.
Well, a couple of questions have come in. Oh, I say statements. I like to say they're statements. And Spider-Rama says the Night Guard is a legend.
He is.
He's a legend. Yes.
Unfortunately, he's not the same in real life.
No. Geeky Gamer was asking how much ZBrush costs. It's about $800 for a license. Is that a yearly license or a one-off?
No, it's one-off. It's one-off. Like a lot of these programs are yearly, but no, ZBrush, they're cool. And also, I mean, I don't know about now, but I bought ZBrush back in 2006, I think, and I've never paid for it since. They're always free upgrades.
Oh, that's so. Yeah, we like ZBrush and pixellogic.com.
That's right.
So
here I'm making these. I've just quickly talked. I'm making his eyebrows. I'm making all the little different bits and pieces to his body here, his head. This isn't his whole. This isn't the whole animatronic. I'm just doing his head on this particular video time lapse. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
No, I'm just watching myself. I was so impressed how the time lapse works. Not the time lapse, what you've actually done to make it.
This was his bottom jaw, I think I was making here. And just the reference I had, actually, a lot of the reference I had was the toy. Because in the game, he just peeks out. You don't see his whole body. So a lot of it, I just had the toy picture to sort of use. And actually, people have pointed out, and it's correct, his hook in the film is on his wrong hand. And the reason for that, there's two reasons. One is I made a mistake because I was modelling it in wireframe and had my left and right wrong way around. But the excuse I'm going to use as the official excuse is that it wouldn't have been seen in the shot if it was on his other hand.
In the shot. So that's basically how Foxy came together when you was doing it, building him in ZBrush. How long did that roughly take you?
His head took me probably about 2 hours, I think.
That's not too bad.
No,
that's not too bad. I mean, considering like when we've done the Bubblegummonsters, it's about the same. So
yeah.
Is the series over? Yes, it is. But it's not the end of our Five Nights at Freddy's related stuff. We have got other stuff coming up, including interviewing the characters, where we want you guys to email us bubblegummonsters@gmail.com with question in the subject line, and you can ask Chica a question.
That's right. And I mean, never say never, right? I mean, I just need a break from it.
Yeah,
exactly. I think I've gone blind from looking at Foxy for too long. So yeah, maybe, you know, if there's enough of demand, maybe we'll do an FNA YouTube towel with
Undyne and Papyrus. Yeah, we had that.
Says it's an FNAF2, maybe.
Okay, while you go to Premiere and look at our is Premiere going to first, or is it going to be Maya?
Let's go,
because Maya is
let's go Premiere.
Okay. So we just need to take that off the full screen there.
Okay, so let's go back to one of the scenes. And now I don't know if this going to play through sound. If I play this, will it? It should be silent for you guys in terms, so hopefully it won't get in the way of.
Oh, that's going to be. Yeah, I'm going to have to mute it on.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
So this shot, what I've done is, luckily, when I made the edit, I tried to make a point of keeping every single of the original clips in there as well. Let me just double check you guys can still see me. Yeah. So if I hide this layer, this is the one with all the effects on it, and then this one is without the effects. So that's quite a subtle one. You can sort of see there's a difference to the TV. All we had was these markers and a blue screen, but on this one we had to add in a whole background for Stuart, so he falls over, and we shot it against a green screen, which I think most people know what green screen is, right?
I would have thought so.
But if you don't, it means that it's a lot easier to remove the background because it's one colour, and then you can tell the computer, I don't want that colour, I want to have a clear background, and then you can put whatever you want behind it.
Could you demonstrate that now? Could we put a key light, do the key light effect on Premiere and just maybe...
yeah, you could, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
So if we put me on the spot here. Right, so if I go here and go down to effects, and then has it got key light in Premiere? I can't remember. It's Ultra Key, I think it's called. Ultra Key. So I'll stick that on here, and then over here I've got a little swatch that I can then say I want that colour, and there you go. See, it's now removed most of that green, and you can actually then go in and start adjusting things and making it more extreme, soften up the edges. I don't know how much you can see on.
But as a point, I mean, even though that was just a click of a button,
yeah,
you still have to then start playing with the different settings to make it perfect. So it's still not a 5-minute job. It's something you have to do on every scene as well.
Yeah. And also that is a very simple shot. That one.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, so here we've got Freddy coming in, and he's a 3D model. I don't unfortunately have the background to that, the original background on that one. I think I have it on the next one. Yeah, I've got it on here. So if you look at this one, this is what Stuart had.
Yeah, so that's what I was looking at. It was just a black. We just did a black sheet back there, didn't we? At one point.
Yeah, I think it was just a black sheet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll show you actually the doors in After Effects. If I go to After Effects now, we can show you what that kind of looks like. So here we've got a door scene here with where Stuart. You can actually see Bonnie in the background there, looking through the window. But if I just isolate the door, you can see that was just actually in After Effects you can import in 3D models. So if I go to here, you'll be able to see it here. So here's the door here, and then you can add lights to it. You can even animate it. So when we were doing the doors, it was like a mixture between After Effects and also Maya. We did a lot of the effects as well. When the animatronics are there, because they're CG and the door CG, I put them all in Maya, which is a 3D package we use, so that I could combine everything together a bit more easily. But yeah, I've cocked it all up. Okay, so that's what happens when you move it around. There's little subtle things as well that I had to add. For example, it has a shadow here, which you can just see running down the door frame, and if I take that shadow off, it just doesn't sit quite right, does it? So it was a case of adding things like that in. Now this particular shot actually was quite straightforward in that it was a locked off shot, which means the camera was on a tripod, so it didn't actually move around. But a lot of the shots that we had, if I go back to Premiere, there was a lot of shots that we used that had a lot of moving, like for example here the camera's moving, so I had to then superimpose everything, had to track the camera so that the 3D camera matched the real world camera, and then everything that was superimposed on top would then move with what the real camera was doing. Have I got a background on there? Yeah.
A couple of there's a shout out to Mr. X4401. Hiya, good to have you here. I hope you like your render of the signed screenshot of your one. Was the leprechaun, I think, actually, Mr. X4401, was it not?
Yeah. There's the difference there.
And where we go. Questions: do bullets have effects against the animatronics? I think that was more as a no.
He didn't have a gun.
He did have a gun.
He did have a gun,
exactly.
So it wouldn't have mattered if they did or not.
Nice to see you, Fernando. Night Guard. How does it feel to be attacked by Foxy? Well, in fact, we'll probably get to that bit in Premiere, and you'll be able to actually see what I was acting to. They're asking whether we're going to make a video of Golden Freddy. They're asking about what our next project's going to be. Someone suggested making a Ghostbusters type of thing. That's quite cool, actually. I like the Ghostbusters. Yeah. Mind you, I didn't like the remake.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, I wasn't that impressed with the remake.
Go to. I'm just trying to find some more shots that we can break down and show you how they've done. So what we'll do then here is let's go back to Premiere. So there's this shot, which was you with Foxy.
Oh right, yeah.
Which is here. Let me plug. Sorry, I'm just unplugging my headphones because I'm getting loads of noise still. There we go. Yeah, so Stuart here. Have I got the original? Yes, I have got the original. So this is what Stuart actually. This is what the original shot was. Play through that. And yeah, nothing there. So what we had to do was I had to. You also you'd also notice that there's a slight lens flare that I always had to put in the background, just because there's meant to be like a blue light. If you look at the game, there's always like a bit of a blue light. So I added this lens flare, and also it helped hide the background because.
And also you got the door in there as well. So
yeah,
again,
the door's there. Yeah.
If you highlight that, that's no door.
Yeah.
No door.
And so then when you turn, you had to. I just sort of said, "Oh, Foxy's next to you now, and he's going to jump at you." And so then I had to then animate Foxy into the scene. So actually, you can see on this still. I don't know if you guys can see it on his shoulder. You can just see the rotoscoping, and rotoscoping is when you cut around the person and sort of stick them back over the tops, because Foxy needed to be behind Stuart. So I had to sort of cut Stuart out of the original scene and put him back over the top of the 3D version of Foxy. And you can just see on his shoulder there's a sort of slight error there, because I was having to get through this pretty quick. But yeah, that was a little mistake there.
But you say that, I mean, that is just a few frames.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about a minute moment of time.
Yeah. So that's where. So if I go to Maya now, I can show you what Foxy looks like in Maya. There he is.
So just explain Maya very quickly.
So Maya is like a 3D package that allows you to sort of pretty much do everything you want in 3D, from modelling to animating to rendering, which is when you add all of the shaders to make it look like things that look like metal, or things that look like fur, or things that look like plastic or whatever, or skin. You can apply all those here as well. And so you might look at this and sort of wonder what all these controls are. There's all lots of sort of multicoloured discs all over the place. Now, when you're animating, you've got what's called a rig in your character, and it's a bit like a string puppet in a way. So you've got control. So rather than strings, you've got these things. So for example, I can move his eyes around. I'll tell you what, let me put him in colour so you can sort of see. So yeah, you can move his eyes around. And this was quite a basic rig actually, because I knew that I didn't really need much to be going on. But I can do things like move. Oh, if I don't cock everything up, I can then say move his ear. Select that. Move his ears around. Move his body around so you can do a little dance. And he's actually, his eyes are locked, so wherever I move his body, his eyes will keep looking at that point. Like that. You can open his mouth. I'll just turn that off. Like this.
Just very quickly, Rusty Show, we will be answering your question, because that's a very good question about can you use ZBrush for 3D printing. But we are going to answer Turf 105511 MG, his question, which is, but why did Foxy attack when it was after 6 a.m, sorry.
Okay, so to answer that, the animatronics will only switch off if they're not inside the actual room. And so when they're in the room, which Foxy was, and Foxy's quite sly as well, then it doesn't switch them off. It's too late.
There you go. It's artistic license. We had to finish the film on a climax, didn't we? So that's why it all came about. Sorry, you were saying about Maya.
So just going back. So what you can do in the 3D package Maya is you can load then in the video footage that you shot originally, which is Stuart obviously looking at nothing, and then you can place your 3D character where you need it to be. You have to input things like the information for the camera and what lens it was, so that the perspective looks the same. And so this was the animation here. You can see jumping on Stuart. And then if I go back, then we show it back in. If we go back
just before you go, just before you move on from this, so just a quick question then. That essentially hasn't been rendered yet, has it? That's just why it's looking cartoonish.
Yeah.
So right, so then it's when you render it all, that's when he looks like he does in the film.
That's right. Yeah. So that's kind of actually what I think I was going to try and show in. If I show it in Premiere, go back to Premiere here. Yeah, you can then see here it looks a lot different in that it's got a lot more sort of realistic shadows on it. For example, in his mouth, if we flip between that, in fact, you know what I'll do is I'll flip between that and Maya. So you can see in Maya, there's no lighting on there at all. And then, actually, make it a bit easier for you guys to see. Open it up like that, so you can then see the difference there. And then the other thing you can do is add things like motion blur. So, have I moved something? Oh no, there you go. So as he jumps, you can see everything's sort of blurred, because in the real world...
Well, look at me, I'm blurred.
Yeah, you're blurry, and I didn't add any blur to you. So it was just a case of matching the blur, so it kind of looks like it sort of sits in the world a little bit more. And yeah, so that's kind of the process that you go through from making a 3D model in ZBrush, to then you go into Maya, you add those controls that you saw, and then you animate, and then you render.
Just to answer, because we're just back to the main window here.
Yeah.
Just to answer not ZBrush's question. I feel sorry. Can we scroll up? I've forgotten who asked it. It was the guy who hasn't been. Rusty Show. That's it. Of course it is.
Yeah.
So can you use ZBrush for printing? Well, last Friday you did, to celebrate our Five Nights at Freddy's release. You did making Carl a cupcake as a bubblegum monster.
Yeah.
And what Peter done is he sent. Oh, that was created in ZBrush, and what I managed to do, because I've finally got hold of a 3D printer, is that was printed. Let's see, will that focus up on there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That was printed on the 3D printer. It's a low res copy. We just wanted to know how it was going to turn out, but that is from a ZBrush model. So yes, you can. In answer to your question, it's a bit rusty. You can print from ZBrush.
Yeah.
There's a big process you have to go through. It's not as straightforward as going.
Yeah.
There's the model in there, but yeah. So, but that was our first bubblegum monster on the 3D printer.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
it's kind of cool, isn't it?
it is quite good fun. Anyway, that aside, right. So, any other elements are you going to show us? Because there was quite a few. I wouldn't mind seeing some of those subtle changes. They have asked how long did it take us to make the office. I think it was a couple of weekends we put that together. Was it? Well, it was a one weekend and then a week of going back every night.
The plan was to knock it up. Actually, originally the plan was we were going to hire a hall. In fact, the same hall that we actually filmed Five Nights at Freddy's, but it had a downstairs bit, and they only had one evening or something free, or half a day. So we were like, all right, we'll make the panels up beforehand, and then sort of like just ship them in on that day and just erect it all.
And film all the office scenes in half a day.
Yeah. Didn't work out like that, did it? So yeah, it took about, I think it was about 7 days or something, or 8 days to. No, actually, to make it wasn't that.
To make it, no, because we did the full weekend, didn't we? Actually building it, constructing the actual framework and doing it, and then you was spending some time during the day going back and doing the walls. Yeah. And I was coming in the evening, was then building like the furniture and then putting all the props on. But I think it took us about a week.
It's sad, really, isn't it? Because we had to take it down, so it doesn't exist anymore. But we did film it, which will be shown in the vlog on. Yeah, the vlog on Wednesday will be showing the deconstruction of that. Yeah, which was quite sad, but quite enjoyable as well, just smashing everything up in a way.
Yeah.
So about 3 or 4 days, I think.
Yeah, I think
to
so.
make it. I can show this. So I'm looking at it on here, and I've just realised you guys can't see it. I was just looking at the office here. So here, we've got like the TV, the power, and it's a really subtle one. But the windows they were green, so I had to go through and remove the green on every shot as well. So if I just shrink that down and then hide that, you can sort of see the difference. In fact, on the windows you can't really see much of a difference, but you can see the TV and the power supply, the generator
thing, yeah,
had to be changed. And then there was just slight colour corrections as well, like making the bulb a bit more orange, because in the game it was very orange, bright bulb. So I've just tried to match the game as much as I could. Stuart looking very happy before he died. Just trying to find anything else that would be quite cool to see in this particular scene. I mean, obviously all the animatronics were CG, so we, in theory, could go through all of them. Like, this is the same sort of thing. Like with Foxy, it was Chico in this case, and the door was 3D, so that I could get the interaction of her fingers going around the door, and the shadow would then interact. Because there was two types of door. There was the door in After Effects, which I showed you earlier, which was 3D, but you couldn't put the animations in there as well. And then there was one that I did all within Maya as well.
Right, shall we go through any questions? There was a question here about how do we make the sounds.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, the Cheek was made up of a couple of sounds, wasn't she?
So
the scream. That was
the
one
scream,
specific question.
Yeah, the scream. The scream was it was a hawk, of some kind of hawk or a bird of prey, and I think it was a wild boar, like a pig. And that was sort of screeching, and then mixed. It wasn't technical at all. I'm not particularly good at sounds. I just kind of know some rough basics. So it was literally just. I think it was just laying them together and fading one up a bit more than the other. I'm not a sound engineer. I couldn't do any of these sort of like amazing sort of sound effects and stuff. So it was really quite simple.
Bye, Rusty. Thank you very much for popping in and
cheers,
saying
Rusty.
hello. It's good to see you again. Who's your favourite FNAF character, and also who's your favourite Ghostbusters character? My favourite FNAF character is definitely Foxy. I think from the point of view, just the way he was modelled and everything else in this, Foxy was my favourite character.
Yeah, I do like Foxy. I like Chico as well, just because I just like her little bib. The let's eat kind of thing.
And as for the Ghostbusters character, it would be Venkman, played by Bill Murray in the original Ghostbusters. He was, that was.
I quite liked. I can't remember his character. The one with glasses. He wasn't a Ghostbuster. Actually, he was the.
Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him anymore, did he?
No, it was in Honey I Shrunk the Kids, and Honey I Shrunk Blew Up the Kid.
Yeah.
And then he sort of disappeared for a while.
How did you make Freddy laugh? As in the animation or the sound effect was from the game. Sound effect was because the thing is, it was kind of one of those things. It's like, should we use the ones from the game? But I think a lot of people would have not.
Yeah,
there wasn't
a couple of subtle ones which are iconic, aren't they? They're specific to the game, so we couldn't really sort of. We could have made it up ourselves, but one, it takes a lot more effort and much more time consuming, and two, I don't know, sort of robbing people. Yeah, those who are game fans, we thought we should be, maybe keep to the original.
Because I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people wanted the sound effect of the footsteps, but some of the game sound effects were a bit. The samples aren't great, so when you've got it with high quality music and things like that, it just didn't. It just kind of just sort of brought the level down a little bit. So I wanted some more sort of realistic sound effects for the footsteps. But where is the purple guy? Well, in the first game, you don't really hear much about him. So it was kind of like we were just basing it literally on the first game, rather than trying to sort of like expand on it. Because obviously that's for like Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and things like that. How does it feel to be attacked by an animatronic? Stuart?
If you missed it, you go watch it back. But I wasn't attacked by an animatronic. I just had to.
Just me.
Yeah, I had to. Peter would scream that Foxy's attacking me, and then I had to dive off the chair. So what you don't see is obviously Peter's actually, when he's behind the camera, he's actually directing me. So he's actually saying, right, Foxy's attacking you now, and whatever, or jump.
Because there was that one with the doors opening, that scene, and I'm just going, they're coming in.
Coming in.
Oh my god, what are you going to do? You're going to die.
You was behind as well, because you had to time the 15 seconds to turn the light back on as well. So I mean, there's only two of us doing it at the time. So you've got Peter trying to set up the camera, and then he's behind the actual set itself, ready to turn the light back on.
Mr. Saylime, how do you make the doors? That we have actually been covering just in this vlog. So I'm not sure when you joined us, but we've actually covered that. I think quite
extensively. Yeah. So, but this will be uploaded. So please, excuse me. So I can't. I've got a new phone at last. A new phone, but I haven't sussed how to use it yet.
Will you do outtakes?
Yeah.
Your brothers.
I don't know. I don't know what sort of outtakes we might have. I mean, it was quite intensive. So the amount of footage actually we had, I don't know if you could go back all the way through it and then try and pick out outtakes.
There must be some. I'm just trying to think what.
There wasn't bits which really went wrong. There was just bits we wanted to do to get right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It wasn't that, it wasn't like funny outtakes. But yeah.
Put it on your phone? Or put it on silent?
I would try and put it on silent now. Yeah.
Spider Armour 2017 says, Night Guard, sorry, I don't know your name, but you are a friggin' legend.
Am I? Yay! Thank you.
You're all legends. Thank you, Spider Armour. You two guys beside Night Guard don't know any of your names. Well, I'm Peter, that's Stuart. Stuart was the Night Guard and I was the one behind the camera and doing the effects. Because that was it. There was you and your cousin.
Yeah.
His cousin was the unfortunate first Night Guard that dies in the film. And then we had Bill.
Bill, who did the manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was it, wasn't it? That was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
And we didn't. And in fact, where Simon helped us on a couple of scenes, he wasn't even around all the time either.
No.
So the office scenes was pretty much just you and me.
Yeah.
There was no one else there, and the majority of the hall scenes as well, the restaurant scenes, that was just you and me. It was only the kitchen scene I think we filmed was actually had Simon helping us out.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it was quite.
How did you make Foxy, Bonnie, Chico, and Foxy and Freddy move like a person? It was actually me film. So with animation, like with most things, it's always really good to sort of shoot some reference. And so a lot of that I shot reference of myself acting out. In fact, there's a video we've done. I mean, maybe we'll do a video of the making of as well. But there's another video we did of a robot, and in that there's got some of the reference of me doing the robot movement.
Yeah, check that one out.
And and that was a few weeks ago we did that one. But it's the same sort of thing. So what I'd do is I'd set up a camera, and then, for example, there's a bit with Chica crawling under the table, and I literally got a camera and crawled along, because there's little things you sort of think you know what someone looks like or something looks like crawling, but there's so many subtleties that you wouldn't think of. Just like, for example, as your hand goes down, your head might jolt a little bit, and there's just all these little bits that when you shoot reference, you're like, oh, okay, cool. But I didn't have much time to animate these things. It was like literally an hour here, an hour there kind of thing. But that really helps. If you're going to do animation, always shoot reference, because it will save you time in the long run. So I guess that's why they look like people.
Sweet Dollar Kang, that's the best question, because he says, how long did it take you to create the whole FNAF movie kind of thing? Well, we started back in 2 weeks before October the 31st, or whatever 14 days is off that.
I thought we started at the beginning of October. It was literally the beginning of October.
It was 2 or 3 weeks. He said, okay, if we're going to do it, let's do it for Halloween. And yeah. Well,
and we're still here.
It was
just finished.
It was Friday we released it.
And we are actually releasing the full movie as well in 2 weeks' time. So yeah, on Friday, 2 weeks from now. What is it? The 14th, I think. Wasn't it? 14th?
Yes, the
14th at 7.
14th.
We're because that was the whole intent. Was originally on October the 31st to have a full movie. How we were going to do 20. It wasn't meant to be 24 minutes though. Originally, to be fair, it was only going to be about 12 minutes, wasn't it? And then just got bigger and bigger, and then it was my fault.
Well, no, the script developed on its own. To be fair, when you've got an idea like that, and then it started evolving, and then that's why it grew.
Yeah.
It was, yes, we tried to make it a short movie. But
yeah, it's 25 minutes in total. Fernando Caramoy, I can't see anything.
Yeah,
what's the question?
We did answer his question.
Was it the doors?
I'm sure we have. It was about the doors, but he can't see anything anyway, so he's going to wait for the upload.
Oh, okay.
So what else we got? Will you be getting new models because I'm up to being one? new mods, because I'm up to being one. Don't understand the question. So was the FNAF set like cardboard or sheetrock, or what was the set made out of, Mr. Saline?
You'll see that when we deconstruct it. It was basically a studded wall, wasn't it? It was wooden frame.
Made a wooden frame. In fact, on our Facebook page, we've got some photographs of it coming together. And
then it was cardboard for the walls, wasn't it? Just sheets of cardboard.
But
stapled.
Because originally, I mean, I can't remember what we was going to use.
We were going to use that kind of underfloor heating stuff because it's the cheapest type of stuff to use. Because we were going to use hardboard, but that was actually really expensive.
Hardboard, that's it. It was that.
So we ended up going, we could use the underfloor heating stuff, and then we just and in fact it was Ben, brother, said, why don't you just use cardboard? So we did. So actually, you can see sometimes when you like whack the buttons, the whole sort of shakes a little bit. So,
but then we wallpapered the cardboard as well.
Yeah, we wallpapered.
So and then painted it. So I mean, again, it wasn't just sticking up bits of cardboard.
No, it did take a while. I got to ask, how many models did you make? Did you make only Chica, Bonnie, Freddy, and Foxy? Yeah. Because we knew they were in the script, and again, time-wise, we didn't want to be wasting time making stuff that wasn't going to be shown.
We did make Carl a cupcake, but we made it physically.
Made Carl a cupcake. Yeah, he's real. I don't know where he's gone.
Someone's
eating him. It's probably Toby's. My 4-year-old son's probably eating him.
What was your inspiration for making Five Nights at Freddy?
It was the game, yeah. And then also a lot of people had asked for it, hadn't they? Because we do horrors and things like that. So I think a lot of people had sort of been mentioning it. Why don't you do a Five Nights at Freddy game? And Halloween was coming up, so it was like, yeah, that's a good one.
Couple of hellos. We've got Golden Hunter 849, who's new to our stream, so thank you very much for joining us. We've had lots of new names in here tonight. Boyd Van Lingen, Matty Dog 2004, all new names. Spider Armour 2017. We've got is that Russian up the top there?
Say goodbye to Val FNAF 87. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, thank you. How did you make the Chica crawl under the table in part 4?
It was animation, and I shot reference of me crawling on the floor using a video camera, and then just it's a shame I haven't got it up here actually. But I'll compile some of the shots together maybe, and we'll release that. But yeah, it was basically the original footage was just literally Stuart crawling along, nothing behind him at all, and then I would then superimpose very similar. I'll go back to the Maya one in case you haven't seen this here. Very similar to the Foxy thing. So what we would do is, with the original footage, in fact, I'll tell you what, I know I'm repeating myself for some people, but we'll quickly go over this. So with Premiere, you can see this is a video editing package. You can sort of see the original footage with Foxy here, and there was nothing there. So if I play that now, you'll see that there's no animatronic. So this was the last scene, and Stuart just sort of jumps out of the way. And so we did a very similar thing with the Chica under the table. So there was no Chica there, but then what I did was I then went into this 3D package called Maya, and would then animate the character so that then he would jump and look like he's jumping into Stuart. But as you can see, he sort of goes over the top of Stuart in this particular one because this is in the 3D package. But then back in Premiere, what I would then do, or in After Effects actually, but we'll show it in Premiere here, I would then superimpose Stuart back over the top. So if we then click that back on, you can then see, if I go frame by frame, you'll see now Stuart's, the hand of Foxy goes behind Stuart's shoulder, and it makes it look more like he's there. And there's motion blur and things like that. So that was how that was done.
Okay, well, but just before we wind up, we've got our live Making a Bubblegum Monster at 6:30 this Friday the 7th.
Yeah.
We've got our live vlog where you guys have got any more questions about Five Nights at Freddy's. It's where we do an open forum for about an hour. We chat for an hour and just chat with you guys. That's on Saturday at 7 PM GMT. On Monday, we've got the return of the Bubblegum Gallery.
Yeah,
so we've got
a lot of stuff coming in, some great stuff from some of the guys that are here now. Actually.
Yes, there's been a couple of them coming through. Yes, so Geeky Gamer, yes, we got your picture. Thank you very much. We've got quite enough now to actually probably do 2 or 3 episodes. So if you don't see it, one of your entries in this episode, it would be in the next one or the one after. We've got loads of stuff came in for that.
So Emma says, Peter, were you the dead guard in the closet when Mike was home from Bonnie? No, I wasn't. That was actually, there's a funny story to that. We have said it before, but I'll say it again because it's quite funny. That was actually your cousin. It was. Simon. And so he joined us for 2 nights, wasn't it? But one night he was playing the guard. And so we said to him, well, we need to add a bit of blood because you're dead. And so we need a bit of blood around your eyes. And so we got a bit of fake blood and put it around his eyes. Unfortunately, even though this is stuff you buy in like a stage in a fancy dress shop and stuff, when he went to clean it off, it just stained all his eyes, and apparently it lasted for about 3 or 4 days. And he just had these like drips of like red around his face. And what makes it even worse is we didn't actually really use any of his face in the final film. It was actually all
that was CG. It was CG. It was modelled, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was all CG. Apart from his hair, his hairline, and it up to about below his forehead was all CG. Because we couldn't obviously make a massive gash in his mouth and his eyeballs fall out, so that was all CG. And then it literally was just his hair, so it was a complete waste of time doing all that blood. How did you make Bonnie look under the table on part 5? Very similar to the Foxy one, but Stuart. No, it was me because you. No, it was you. I was filming under the table, and then I got Stuart to pull up the cloth.
Yes.
And then because you could see Stuart's hand as a shadow, I just replaced that with Bonnie's 3D hand and made it black so it was silhouetted, and then just animated him looking under the table.
Mr. Saline, I can't see the likes or dislikes actually, so it'd be interesting. You just let us know what people are just hating it. Guys, if you do like it, it really helps us out with our channel. If you can give it a thumbs up. And if you're watching it on the recorded version, thank you very much for joining us and watching it. Can you please give it a thumbs up too?
Yeah, cool.
Right, are we saying goodnight?
Yeah, we are. No, I was just double checking, just quickly going through questions. Can you make a FNAF baby? Sorry, what was that? A final Five Nights at Freddy baby. I don't know what that looked like a combination of all of them. How did you get which the film was shot? So the location was it was a hall. That's just down the road actually from where I live. And yeah, it just seemed like the perfect sort of thing. In fact, when I did the map, it doesn't match where Stuart's going really, but I was hoping no one would notice, and so far no one has. But yeah, so it was quite good with the hallway and stuff and things like that in the kitchen.
Yeah, well, Rusty, a couple of people have put it in the chat there. It's bubblegummonsters@gmail.com.
Why did you pick Bill to be the owner in the first episode of Five Nights? I can't remember, how did that come about?
He actually wanted a little cameo anyway. And we just built that scene up quite a bit.
Yeah, actually, the original scene didn't have that at all.
No.
It was just Stuart, or the night guard was meant to be. In fact, we had some previous for it, didn't we? The night guard was meant to be on the phone outside the actual restaurant, and then he's sort of talking to his wife, or soon to be. It was all this sort of thing of him breaking up with his wife and stuff, and he wanted to give this present to his kid. And anyway, he said, "I've got a job," and then we revealed the pizza place. But then Bill said, "Oh, I'd like to be in it," sort of thing. So we sort of rewrote that bit and had it with Bill, which I think it's actually quite funny.
Baby is in sister location.
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you meant for the first one. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Maybe. Well, that's if we do sister location.
I think I got a jump scare from the random guy walking in the background. That random guy is because we're sharing an office with Ben.
Benny. Can you do Benny?
Benny and the Ink Machine.
Yeah.
We're sharing office with Ben. So he's
my
just,
brother. Yeah,
just excellent.
How did you make the size of the animator perfect or similar? It was a lot of just kind of looking at scales on like a chair and going, well, they'd be that sort of big, and I wanted them to be a bit bigger than you because I thought if they're smaller, they're not as threatening. So especially that shot when you look at Bonnie in the first bit when you're on the stage and you bend down and you look and he's just like looking at you. I wanted it to be like, is he going to bite your head off at any point?
So we want them to look intimidating.
For a bit drawing in the gallery, I think maybe. You're doing that.
KSG, if you've emailed it to us with gallery, it definitely has to have gallery in the subject line, otherwise our filters won't pick it out. So if you're sending us any artwork for the Bubblegum Gallery, make sure you've got gallery in the subject line, and in that way the filters will find it. And if it's in there, we will put it in. Though it might not be in the next episode, we got more episodes of that coming up. But we enjoy doing those as well. And also the shout outs, that appears in the Bubblegum Gallery as well. So if you want to shout out, just ask for one in one of your comments. Okay, right. Hyomic fan art for you. Yeah, please do VelNF 87. Lovely to have you join us, and we look forward to your comments in the future. Till next time.
Yeah, I think that will have to do, I guess, for now.
For now. Anyway, cheers guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.